got to have a concept. You have a great concept. You guys are doing it, man. And it's an honor for me to just be, a small rock, man, in your mountain. I'm going to pop a top in your honor.
Mr. Doc Walker blessed us with his presence, and now
we want to welcome in our next special guest, Haley Skarupa. She's a three-time world champion in women's ice hockey and most recently won Olympic gold with Team USA.
The Cap Stadium Series is definitely my favorite, obviously. I'm a huge Caps fan, I always have been, and to be there at that game with my teammates and for us to bring, our gold medals to there and share it with everyone in this area was really, really special for me, and just the support and it's been tremendous from everyone in this area, and you can feel that there at that game.
Welcome to Sports on the Hill podcast. Hashtag DC Sports Without the Politics with Carol and Robbie on True Radio Network.
And welcome to episode 382 of Sports on the Hill podcast. Unfortunately, we got a not a victory Monday, but a misery Monday with a loss to the Green Bay Packers. But we have a lot to break down with that game and all of the Week 2 action in the NFL. We're watching live the last couple of games of Week 2. The fourth quarter just started between the Tampa Bay and Houston, and Tampa Bay is up 14-10. The fans have been booing Houston in Houston for a lot of the night. They are not happy with what they see there. There's an opportunity for a 2nd and 1 here with he rolled out to the right, big time completion, gets to the 23-yard line. So maybe they just needed the podcast to start, and now they can get going. And but they still find themselves only down 4 points again in the beginning of the fourth quarter. So we'll be live watching that. There's a second Monday Night Football game. It's actually one of the teams that we'll be focused on is who our next opponent is, which is the Raiders from Las Vegas. I keep on wanting to call them the Oakland Raiders. It's tough, but the Las Vegas Raiders. So that's going to be our next opponent, and they will be on in just a little bit at about 10 o'clock start time. So in an hour or two, we'll talk about that as well. Champ and Sith, who are live here with me, are coming off episode 300 of the No Spots podcast, and it is an amazing run through 7 seasons, and they launched the No Spots podcast 2.0 today, and Champ and I worked really hard this past week making that a thing. There was a few technical glitches on their initial launch, but today they had the official real launch, and they had a great show. Champ actually wore this exact shirt that I'm wearing, so I thought that it'd be funny if he hosted wearing this, then I could celebrate you guys also wearing the same shirt. And so I loved our podcast network that we've got here, and I'm super excited. You had a great episode 300. People can go check that out as well. I'll do the Champ command and in chat as well as I'll do the Sith command. So if you want to go check out the Sith's Basement, you can check that out on Spotify as well. But Champ, welcome on in, and how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. For those who are watching on either Twitch or Facebook, you can see my background is a little bit different. I am at my parents' house because my mother is going in for back surgery on tomorrow, and she has to be at the hospital by no later than 5:30 a.m. So I have to get up at dark 30 a.m. to get her there, pick up her best friend, and then take her to the hospital so she can have the surgery. Found out today after I got here that the OR is booked for 6 hours, so they're expecting the surgery to be up to 6 hours, and it's supposed to be at 7:30 a.m. So she most likely won't be out of surgery until no later than 1:30 p.m. and then won't be in a room on her own until probably about 4, because she'll probably have to spend some time in post-op recovery and things like that, and to wake up from the anesthesia and stuff like that. But yeah, that's why my background is a little bit different. And also, as Robbie's going to be talking about not one, but both of the Monday night games, I unfortunately am not watching it because that cable box that's sitting right back there, unfortunately, was turned off because no one's using this space, and so to save money, my mom turned it off. So I have no TV down here at all. So I'm missing out on the Monday night games, but I am currently watching the remainder of Monday Night Raw on my phone on Netflix and all of that good stuff because I am a wrestling nerd. Other than that, I'm all good.
That's good.
Also had some good dinner too. I had some nice crispy skin salmon with some Spanish rice. I'm feeling like a fancy bitch.
Yes, nice. I also, Liz cooked me a great pregame meal as well. And oh man, so Houston's got down to the 1 yard line for first and goal. On the second goal, they tried to run it in there and they just got pushed out wide. So we'll see what they do on third goal here. But we'll definitely give you the updates, and you can give us updates on Raw as well. And Seth, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good. Episode 300 was a lot of fun to do, to say the least. And love the new setup. Y'all did a great job in bringing that out. Really looks good. And right now, if my internet will cooperate on my TV, I am finishing up Monday Night Raw as well, which has been a really good episode so far. But right now, we're just in a situation with Raw where we're in an ad break right now. And I've noticed something about Raw the last 2 weeks. If you have a VPN and you have standard no ads, you don't get the ads on Raw. If you watch it domestically on your regular Netflix account, they jam you up with ads.
Yeah. It's annoying because I also have I also have Netflix, but I also have it through T-Mobile, and I hate all the advertisements that you have to deal with and stuff like that. So it's definitely.
Oh, by the way, Robbie, I just wanted to show everybody. I said thanks to the windfall that I got recently. This jersey right here, yes, it's number 17, which could be either Jason Campbell, Doug Williams, or Terry McLaurin. But in my case, it's this.
Nice. I love it. DC's champ. I love that. Custom. That's very cool.
Yes,
Very
I love it.
cool.
I saw that I could get a custom, so I did it. I also have a Mikey Sandra still, and I also have the Luvu. And like I mentioned before, I have Terry and I have JD5 coming in October in the alternate throwback white and burgundy with the gold trim on there, which I cannot wait to get. And then eventually I'm going to get one black Commander's jersey of a player as well to like basically complete the set. So I have the home burgundy, the throwback alternate, and then the alternate as well. And I may get a road white as well just to make sure I have the entire set.
Yeah, it's funny that you actually say that. I've been sharing around pictures. Actually, let me see if I can pull up our post that I did about it real quick. But I love these new. So we're talking jerseys right now. So the new Capitals jersey was.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go there with that. Those jerseys look fire, bro.
Yeah,
that looks fire. That is fire.
Yeah, I am so excited. So that's the patch. So it's got a little bit of the red retro reverse Weagle that they had a couple of years back, which I got that one. And then I got the black one as well. And so I'm going to have to get the trifecta and get one of all three. So I was just thinking of you, Champ. So I may actually, we'll have to see. I have the Tom Wilson in black, so maybe I'll get the Ovechkin in this. Because my Ovechkin jersey is from before he was a captain. I actually don't have a jersey of Ovechkin with a C on it, which gives you an idea of how old, since I believe it was 2008 I got that jersey. That it's been since
17 years, brother.
Yeah. So and this, we'll be talking a lot of hockey this upcoming season. And there's the Ovechkin right there, which looks really nice even from the back. I was trying to petition that this should just be our home jersey for Ovechkin. If this is his last season, just go out with a bang or something different. I love our jersey. I mean, I have it hanging on the wall, an old Varlamov one actually, and I have a bunch of them. But I don't know. I think it's time that we could use a little bit of a rebrand for our default ones. Like we always have an extra, but like it's been a long time since they've changed up. And a lot of voting has ranked us the worst home jersey in the NHL, which I don't think that, obviously. But it's interesting that, the general consensus is that it's gotten stale. But I love this one. I think that this one is great, and will definitely. I hope.
I want to see at least 2 or 3 of y'all on the hockey roundtable this season in that jersey. At least
Yeah,
one,
for
at least
sure.
1 or 2 of y'all. I
Yeah.
want to see it. If I see it, I'm gonna be a very happy man.
Yes, yes. Well, I'll definitely wear the other. I have the two. It's funny. You can't go too far without getting a hockey jersey. This was the last super expensive investment I did, which was really crazy expensive. But I got it actually at a Wizards game. They had them, and these were like a hot commodity at the time. The Tom Wilson, a black, Weagle one. Because I love him. I always want to get his jersey, and like, man, this one is so fire. I got it for my birthday. They actually wore it on my birthday and won. So shout out to the Capitals for their new jersey. It's going to be 15 home games, so I'm going to definitely try to get to one of those 15 home games. I got to get Zach to another game. It's been 2 years since he's gone to a game. And it's just been a while since I didn't go to a single game last season, which is rare for me. So
I still need to go.
Yeah, so we should go together, and I want to maybe even do one of those like Sunday matinee games, and then we could bring Zach and stuff like that. Even if he sits up top, I cared less when he was real little. I didn't want him to be sitting up top, but I think he'd understand now. But that'd be good. Little scoring update. They were unable to convert. That is the Texans. They must have gone for it, right? I missed the play, but Tampa Bay has the ball, and they got no points down there. Here it is right now. They try to run it in, didn't get it, and then they try to do a pass, and it's off his hands in the corner, and then they bootleg out and they try to do a fade, but it's too far out of the reach, was the fourth down play. So thank you, ESPN, for the replay right then. They're still down 4 points, 9:32, 2nd and 10 from their 20. Tampa Bay has the ball. So we'll be continuing to monitor that, but I do want to get both your guys' thoughts. The Green Bay game went about as I expected, I would say. I can't say it was better or worse than I expected. It was about where I thought we were. I thought that Green Bay is a better team. I thought the idea of going on a short week to try to play there. We faced some injuries, unfortunately, that we need to talk about. And if you don't have your best players, and I think Green Bay looks really good. I don't want to sugarcoat it too much, but I think that they could be one of the NFC best teams. I think they could be the Lions potentially of this year. They were building in the right direction. They added some additional pieces that are solid, and people were like, they can have him. He only had half a sack. I was like, you clearly only looked at the box score, because if that's all you saw was a half a sack, then, and he was on the rookie when it happened. I was like, you clearly weren't watching the double teams, the chip blocks, how many weapons we had to throw at him, how defenseless I felt that the rest of the team was, how open we were to susceptible to rushes from different parts, because he just sucked up all of our best offensive linemen / running backs, to chip him and let everyone else feast, which could be a recipe for success for them. But Champ, I'll let you give your thoughts on it.
You basically hit the nail on the head. Micah Parsons is someone that is a disruptor and creates havoc on offenses throughout his career, and it showed here. Yeah, he only had half a sack, but that's only a fraction of the impact that he had on this game, with the pressures that he was putting on Jaden Daniels, the work that he's putting on the rookie Josh Carnerly, as well as on running backs trying to chip him to try to neutralize him enough to be able to make plays in the passing game. But he was such a disruptor. The Green Bay Packers managed 4 sacks on the night. Washington only managed 2 on Jordan Love. And here's the thing. Green Bay had double the penalties that we did. Commanders had 5 penalties for 30 yards. Packers had 10 penalties for 77 yards. Normally, that's a recipe to lose. But then when you turn around and have 404 yards of total offense, 269 yards through the air, and 135 on the ground, you go 5 for 12 on third down as opposed to 5 for 16 for the Commanders, and you hold on to the ball for over 32 minutes. That's a recipe for victory, which is what we saw here. The score may not indicate it, but this was not a close game. Under no circumstances, this was not a close game. I mean, the Commanders had to fight from underneath for the majority of the game to get it to a 9-point loss as opposed to what it would have been. It was a very, very tough game. I'm with Robbie. I kind of felt that this game was going to go the way it was. It's a short week. You're coming off a game against the Giants on week 1, and then literally you only had Monday and Tuesday for practice before you had to travel Wednesday and then play in Green Bay on a short week while Green Bay was home because they were home against the Detroit Lions, so they didn't have to do much traveling. They didn't have to adjust much, so they basically had the advantage. The Green Bay Packers in these first 2 weeks defeated 2 playoff teams. As a matter of fact, the 2 playoff teams who played each other in last year's playoffs, the Detroit Lions and the Washington Commanders, and they handled both of those teams with relative ease. That is a recipe for fear in the NFC North. If I'm Chicago or I'm Minnesota, especially the way Minnesota's been playing, they had to make a comeback on Monday night against Chicago. And then we'll talk about it later, but what they did against Atlanta on Sunday night. If I'm Minnesota and Chicago, I'm very, very concerned about Green Bay and what they can do. Oh, Jesus, what happened?
Fumble and just got it stripped out, and then he got rocked. The guy who got the ball just got, so they were able to retain, but now it's going to be 4th down, but oh my God. So it was a fumble, the ball squirted out, the guy goes to cover it, but that guy who gets it for them, so it's a strip on the quarterback, but it looks like it just rolls out of his hands. And so the wide receiver comes back to the ball, but he just gets, you get pounded on when you're on the ground and just like a body slam. Yeah, it was, because he was already on the ground, but the guy's trying to dive onto him, and it's just, that's a lot of energy coming at you on the ground. So anyway, but I agree it wasn't close in this game, but we kept it close for a lot of the game. We just weren't able to produce much offensively. Their defense was just, if our offense did anything in the first half, we were held to a field goal, right? It's a different game. And we were able to put up 15 points in the fourth quarter. So, if we saw any of that earlier on, it would have definitely been helpful. But I agree that it was rough to watch. But Sith, what are some of your thoughts?
Very rough to watch. And a key point here, the offense had a hard time getting into sync for most of the game, which meant, guess what? Our defense got gassed out. They were already getting gassed somewhat by halftime, but midway through the third, you could tell they're like, guys, we have been out here literally trying to keep this game close. Y'all have got to get things together. And as much as I love Scary Terry, maybe you should have allowed your agent to do the contract during the season and gone to camp. Because even though the starters didn't play much during training camp, and they didn't, another big issue is Scary Terry's deal didn't get worked out until after that third game. And he was stubborn. He's like, I'm holding out. I'm waiting on a new deal. And I'm like, at what cost, though? I'm not seeing.
He got what he wanted out of it. I mean, he needed to use the leverage that he had. But I see what you're saying, that they're out of rhythm. But for me, it's less about that because he's running his routes pretty well. But the timing is so messed up from the quarterback position. It's like he's not getting set into it, and they know that they need to force him left now. They've learned a lot from last year, and so the defenses are putting him in a difficult thing. I want to go back to one thing that Champ did say, and then I do want to get more thoughts from Seth. The Packers, really good team, and they beat us, which a lot of people were like, well, how good is Washington? The New York Giants, is that a real win? They didn't allow them to score a touchdown, which we didn't even talk about last week, that hadn't happened in, what is it, a decade, Champ? How long ago was it? It was, it was a long time.
Very long time.
Yeah, and but it did mean something. I mean, Dallas could seem to be able to score on the Giants, but also get scored at will. So, the Giants still have some offense in them, or maybe Dallas's defense is just terrible. They've kind of been blown up 2 weeks in a row.
What happened in Green Bay?
Yeah.
Before and after that game, the fans were saying, "Thank you, Jerry."
Yeah.
That had to be one of the worst trades. Well, great for Green Bay. I put this right now about where things were when Favre arrived in Green Bay. And I remember when Favre arrived, it was very little fanfare because back when Favre arrived, was just an away station. It's like, okay, I'm playing here in a frozen tundra. So be it. I'm just waiting for my next team. And things just came together there. Well, here, Micah Parsons gets traded to the Packers. And this is just insane. How could you trade him? Because Micah Parsons is, as Champ said, he is the ultimate disruptor. He doesn't have to get a sack to make an impact on your passing game, your rushing game. The guy is a dominant player. And if you're Minnesota, Chicago, and Detroit, you have major pause for concern here. Green Bay, I think, takes the North. I think Green Bay is going to win the North.
By the way, one thing to mention about Terry McLaurin, he actually had a little bit of a better game in this one than he did in week one. He had 5 catches for 48 yards. Yeah, that doesn't seem like good numbers, but it was a lot better than the 2 catches for 17 he had in week one. So there's a bit of an improvement. I think by week 4, that continuity between JD5 and McLaurin is going to be improved, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And Debo, along with Debo being there, who got a touchdown in this game, is going to be a force to be reckoned with. But what concerns me is the play against tight ends. Tucker Kraft, 6 catches, 124 yards, and a touchdown. And a lot of that was on him just going up the seam and no one being there. And then Love just putting it on him, and he's getting the yak yards and things like that. So I don't know what Joe Witt Jr. needs to do with this defensive alignment to not allow tight ends to be able to just go up the seam and kill this team like this, but he needs to figure it out damn quick, especially against the Raiders, who have a very talented tight end by the name of Brock freaking Bowers, and then they have a backup tight end by the name of Michael freaking Mayer. And if they don't figure out how to keep those 2 tight ends from finding open space and getting yak yards, they're going to have another tight end that's going to have over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown, and we could be having another misery Monday next week.
I got to give you guys a Monday Night Football update because this game is wild. All right, so blocked punt that happened, and so that means that Houston got the ball with good field position, right? So they have first down 10. Looks like they're going to drive. First down, terrible. Second down, terrible. Third down, he literally throws it to the Tampa Bay guy who has it in his hands and then just drops it. And it should have been the easiest interception of this player's life, right? And doesn't get it. Then they kick the 53-yard field goal and make it. So they do get something out of it, even though they don't go for it on 4th down again. Anyway, it's now 14-13 with 5:22 left, and they're going to kick it away. And we'll see what Tampa Bay is able to do. It's in the landing zone, and Tampa Bay actually covers it and kneels it down, which is what you're supposed to do when it's in the end zone. There was a little bit of confusion yesterday on the fact that, hey, if it lands in the end zone, it's not an automatic touchback. Somebody on your team actually has to down it. It's an important distinction because
yeah, the rule was if it lands in the landing zone, it's a live ball. Even if it lands in the end zone, it's a live ball, and you still have to do something. You still have to field it, and then kneel down for a touchback or something like that. And that I can't wait to talk about that with Arun and Tim later. That's gonna
that's wild. It's an onside kick for a touchdown. It's but like it's crazy. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. But I do see that Arun and Tim are both on, so we could bring them on as well. And I'll get a little bit of a Ravens report from Tim, and then we can get into a little bit of some of those other games from week one as we sort of finish out hour one. And let me get the Ravens graphic up for Tim. But Tim, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Good to see you guys. I feel like it's been 3 or 4 months.
It has been. Yeah.
It's been forever. Yeah. It's been forever. Where the hell you been?
I've just been taking a summer break. I mean, not from work, but at least from sports with baseball sucking. So
right.
Yeah, kind of a hiatus until football came back.
I don't blame you. We all took a hiatus for this summer, but I am happy that you're back. This is episode 3 of the fall season, and so it's been fun covering the NFL at large. But we've actually been covering the Ravens the last 2 weeks, but it's never quite the same without you. Tough loss in week one, obviously. We won't talk too much about that one. But big time win against Joe Flacco in week 2. It was sort of a close game for a while before they kind of blew the doors open in the second half. But Joe Flacco made some really questionable choices, including one pass that he's running, and he throws across his body, which they suggest you don't do, into triple coverage, which is also a bad idea. And that was run back. I don't think it was for a score, but I think he ran it back 50 yards or something. So
deep into their territory, but not a score.
For sure. But Tim, what were sort of your thoughts on just overall the beginning of your season and being able to score 81 points over the first 2 weeks?
Well, obviously, the week 1 collapse was so devastating I couldn't come on, even though I planned on it. But I just needed a whole week off of football because of the sadness. I mean, the team looks strong. They definitely passed the eye test, at least on offense. Just.
Yep.
Oh, we lost Tim's sound. Oh,
yeah. No. We had you.
Sorry, I had some outside sound. My bad. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I was just going to say the offense looks really strong. I still have questions about the defense because Buffalo is a great offense, but Cleveland clearly struggles a ton on offense, but they were able to put together a couple drives, and they had the one lucky touchdown that you talked about, a crazy deflection. So that's 2 crazy deflection touchdowns in 2 second halves already. So, obviously when you're 1-1, you're feeling a lot better than 0-2. The Lions are the next opponent on Monday night, so that's going to be a tougher game. But overall, I think the talent is there, the roster is there. The question is more mental makeup and confidence late in games because, clearly Harbaugh has had a few years now of some bad collapses, and Lamar's been the quarterback for most of them when he's healthy. So he's part of that. And, you just I feel like the Ravens will probably make the playoffs again, but you never know how deep they can go because it always comes down to the clutch and the mental aspect of the game. But I think they're right up there in the AFC.
I gotta
Sure.
ask you something, Tim. How high is your confidence in your receiving core after the performance they had on Sunday with DeAndre Hopkins, the rookie who all 3 of his catches were for touchdowns? I mean,
Yeah,
how high is
Walker.
how high is your confidence in your receiving core? Because I think when we talked last time, you didn't have a lot of confidence in this receiving core, but has that changed, or how do you feel about it now?
I would say this group of receivers is probably the best that the franchise has had, which might sound like a huge compliment. It only kind of is because the Ravens usually don't have great receivers, but definitely 1 to 5, it's probably the best and deepest. And I just think, huge upgrade with some of the backup receivers, kind of like Hopkins you mentioned, just so much better than Aguilar, even though he's a pretty good player. So I feel great about the receivers. I think a lot of fans are down on the tight ends, and that's just because Andrews had the terrible drop against Buffalo right at the end that could have tied the game, or maybe the difference in the game. And he had a fumble, and he hasn't had a touchdown yet, and I think just 1 catch per game. And then you have Likely is probably the better tight end right now, but he's still hurt. So the Ravens, you're kind of used to run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, pass to Andrews. That's what their offense was, but now it's way more focused on the wideouts, which is a nice change, because you can't always go to the tight ends, and if they get hurt, you're kind of stuck with some of the backups they have are not great. So I think that's the big difference this year on the offense.
Real quick, I need to give an update because this Monday Night Football game is getting crazy. We're just outside of the 2-minute warning. There was a missed 2-point conversion that just happened, but let me set up the stage on how we got there. There was a punt after a 4th and 16. Tampa Bay was on their 29, so they punted it for 50 yards. Pretty decent punt. It was returned for 53 yards.
Oops.
So they get the ball on the 26-yard line. There's a Nick Chubb rush to the left for 1 yard, didn't look like much. Then they were like, let's give it right back to that guy. Next time he rushes to the right, which clearly is the better direction for him, for 25-yard touchdown. And then a 2-point conversion. Shadow was trying to get a pass attempt, but they literally sent a cover 0 blitz at him, and he couldn't get it off in time. So they are now currently up by 5 points, 19-14, in a very strange score. Yeah, we'll see here. They're kicking it away. They're in the zone, and there's a return here. Big cut through up to the 30-yard line, but there's a flag on the play. I have to say, I love these new kicking rules, right? And it's funny because the president came out this way. I know we're not don't do politics on this show, but it's related to this specific thing. He came out today saying how much he hated the new kicking rules, but meanwhile, it's added excitement to the game. It's added, just for me, like, so many more returns. It's so much more interesting, and it's weird because they copy the XFL's rule on this, but I think they do it better than the XFL. So, real quick,
honestly, because it wasn't his idea, that's why he hates it.
Right? It's probably
and he's
true.
still mad at the NFL because they wouldn't give him a team decades ago. So
right. But I'm just like, that's wild. Like, I think people are really excited about it. We'll just ask this roundtable in general. Does anyone not like it?
I think they have to make I think you're just talking about kickoffs. I lump it in with the new extra point rule where it's harder. I think they should make extra points even harder. I think that would make it better too, because it used to be touchdown.
Or do the XFL thing where you get 1, 2, or 3 for distance.
Yeah, or that. But you used to just go to the bathroom when a touchdown happened, because the extra point was a gimme, and then the kickoff was a touchback.
Right.
So it used to just be like a 4-minute break.
I like the idea of just taking the kicking out of the extra point altogether. I like the 1, 2, 3. I've now seen it for a couple seasons with the XFL, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I like the idea of getting a 3 points from farther out. And they could even make it harder in the NFL. Make it from the 20 if you want to do 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Robbie G is advocating for kickers to lose their jobs.
Now they can still kick field goals, and they're doing it at a crazy rate. That fucking game between the Giants and the Cowboys, those kicks were insane. Like, there's some crazy kickers in this league right now.
Brandon fucking Arbery, boy.
Right.
Yeah, especially indoors. It's too easy.
Yeah,
Like-
exactly. It's like, I'm going to bring Arun. I think it's a good segue. Arun, what are your thoughts on the new kicking rules? Oh, no. That's weird. I hear you're unmuted, but I think the mic is separately muted. Nope.
He's got the world behind him, but it's not helping him with his mic.
It's the reception in space is shitty.
Yeah, the reception in space sucks. You would think because we've been to space enough times, they would fix that.
No, it's weird. Oh, he's reconnecting his audio. Let's see. No, are you sure that the microphone is set on the and zoom to the right microphone? Because that thing sometimes switches. So, but anyway, look at Arun's thoughts.
He's getting Milky Way interference.
The suspense is building up.
It does. It makes me really interested about the thing. All right, I think so. We click. No. All right. Well, we'll have to pantomime. Is it thumbs up or a thumbs down? Thumbs down. All right. Well, now we need to know. He's the only one who's against it.
Yeah, he's the alternative position. We need to hear it.
We have to give everyone equal time.
In between.
In between. Oh yeah, Dan. While we're trying to figure it out, what are your thoughts?
I like it, but I have a joke about the Dallas kicker. I hope the team buys him dinner all week.
Yeah.
He had to be telling his dudes, hey, I got us into fucking overtime. I won the fucking game. Y'all owe me dinner all fucking week.
I can't believe how many possessions it took for them to win that game. I can't believe the fight that New York put up in this game. It was kind of impressive.
Russell Wilson, yeah.
He took it back to 2013 on him, bro. With Wan'Dale Robinson and with Malik Neighbors, like a good neighbor. State Farm is there. Like that throw to Neighbors to take the lead late in the game was freaking insane. The throw to Wan'Dale Robinson was insane. It was like, wait, he must have thought he was in a Seattle Seahawks uniform the way he was throwing dimes. It was crazy how good Russell Wilson was, especially literally 6 days prior. Everybody in the New York media and everybody in the New York fan base wanted to run him out of town and wanted Jackson Dart in there ASAP. And guess what? They did get Jackson Dart on a couple of little plays. They were switching back and forth between Jackson Dart and Russell Wilson to try to throw off the Cowboys defense and everything like that. But I think Russell Wilson went out there and said, remember, I won a Super Bowl, bitch. So I'm still good. And he went out there and did it. But man, Dallas better think they lucky stars. Dallas better think they lucky stars that someone called Brandon Aubrey on there, because if they didn't have Brandon Aubrey making them length of field goals, we talk about the Giants being 1-1 and Dallas being 0-2 instead of what it is.
You got to be. I mean, I can't believe he played soccer and then the USFL and like that. What a crazy journey into it. But no, Baker Mayfield just had a great throw. Thought it was going to be a catch for a first down the field, but a great hit right at the time of the catch jars it loose. Baker Mayfield rolled out to the right here, threw across. His player was streaking down, but just great catch-up speed right there and hit it right as he's coming down with it and knocked it out. And puts it down to fourth down. Now it's everything's on the line here. We're at 4th and 10. They're on their own 32-yard line here. They're blitzing everybody. Baker Mayfield got their run for it. There's no one there, but he's got to get out of bounds. He doesn't. It's flipped upside down. 48-yard line. They have all 3 of their timeouts. They could have thought to use one there, but they are just. He's getting up and getting them ready. We got 1 minute and 4 seconds left. They're keeping those timeouts in their back pocket here. A 47-yard line. Baker Mayfield takes it back here, throws it out, trying to get out of bounds, and they do. And it looks like it's second down, 52 seconds left. So an exciting finish here. Arun, I just want to say, is your audio working now?
The question for our brethren:
Okay.
who had the Chiefs 0-2 on their bingo card?
Yeah.
Nah.
I mean, they had a tough first few games though, but I agree.
I had them at least 1-1. I had them beating the Chargers and barely
Yeah.
losing to the Eagles. I didn't have them losing to the Chargers and the Eagles back to back.
We have Houston taking a timeout here on defense. They didn't like their matchups that they were seeing there. They are currently up 5 points, 52 seconds left, a 2nd and 2 going. Arun?
Can you hear me?
There we go. You're a little
We got
low,
you.
but I do hear you. But you might want to boost it in the audio settings and Zoom.
Okay.
But I am curious. So that they are talking about the Chargers are playing the Raiders in our game 2 that we're going to be watching here. They're going to start that at 10:05, they say. So that'll be interesting for us to preview the Commanders' next opponent. But Arun, what are your thoughts on kicks?
I like Larry David's idea, which was to ban kickers altogether, and that I like.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Big time catch here, downfield. Didn't have time to regroup, so they used one of their timeouts here. But Irving with the completion here. We got 42 seconds left. Baker Mayfield takes it, direct snap under center. It's sort of a crossing route across the field down to the 40, 35, 30, and just jukes people and just keeps on going. But it's finally, wow, there was like 7 people had opportunity at him, but they finally got him down. They pull Baker Mayfield down by by a horse collar, and it was not called.
Ooh.
They could have gotten an additional yardage there. So, he kind of like really sold it, but there was definitely enough, and he definitely grabbed it. Could have been called. Right now, they are on the 23-yard line. Again, down 5 here with 42 seconds left. Baker Mayfield back to throw, and gets out of bounds at looks like the 18-yard line with 34 seconds left here. But an exciting finish for sure. Sith, what are your thoughts on this game coming down to the wire?
Not watching it, just like Champ, I was watching Raw. But I like that this game is going down to the wire between the Bucks and the Texans. From what I can tell from the stats, it looks like a really good game for the most part. But here's the catch, though. The Texans really need this W. When you get booed out of your hometown fans and they're booing the piss out of you, that's not good. I remember there was a time when the Jets would get booed and the Meadowlands, relentlessly, they were getting booed. I mean, there was one game that I remember watching. This was back when I was living out west. They got booed so bad that the team basically was just like, ugh, they were bad. So it's really cool it'll be really good for Houston if they can get this W and win. It'll give them a good confidence boost. To say the least. If the Bucks win, they would have gone 2-0 away to open the season if they somehow win this game. But we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah,
And
so we got
Thursday,
9 seconds left in the game, and so they
second and goal.
Yeah, so on first and goal, they just ran a simple route to try to get them out of bounds because the clock was running. There was 22 seconds left, and it got all the way down to ultimately to 9 seconds. And then both teams are using timeouts here to try to figure out what's going on with the other team. Tampa Bay was about to run their play on second and goal, and they called a timeout themselves. The current drive is 10 plays, 78 yards in 2 minutes and 1 second. Remember, there's 2 minutes and 10 seconds left when they started this. So be interesting to see what they do. They got to get it in here. It's on this 2-yard line, and they have 2 timeouts left. So they're trying to run it in here, and they get bounced around, and they are in to touchdown. It's a rushing touchdown right there. They take a 20-19 lead. They're going to go for 2, which is the smart decision, and try to make it a 3-point game. But only 6 seconds left. It reminds me of the dollar. They almost had it, right? The fishing line.
Whenever I see a ring space background, it reminds me of the tagline from Alien. In space, no one can hear you scream.
Yeah.
And then,
Robbie,
we couldn't hear him scream earlier. So,
oh God, hey Robbie, something we forgot to mention was the injuries that came out of the Packers game, which was Dietrich Wise, who suffered a torn quad. His season is done after season-ending surgery. Austin Eckler, who suffered a torn Achilles. I figured it was a torn Achilles the moment he went down. It was no contact. I said, that's an Achilles. His season is done. And JD5 is dealing with a knee sprain. There's no word on how severe the sprain is. His status for the Raiders game is uncertain at this point. So we not only lost to go to 1-1, but we also had some very costly injuries that occurred during this game.
Right. All right, we're going to call this 2-point conversion here right now. See how they do. And it's hiked, and he is running around. He just throws it up, and it's out the back of the end zone. So it remains a 1-point game, again, with the 6 seconds left. If I am this team, I kick this out of bounds and take the penalty and have them have it at the 40-yard line. That way, there's no chance of a run back here. Like I don't even entertain that.
I'd be a little worried though. 6 seconds, you get like a 20-yard pass in 5 seconds. It's possible with the timeout.
Seconds, you can do a Hail Mary.
Yeah, or that.
Or a Hail Mary.
Kick it. I would kick it deep. Risk it. Like I would take the chance of going in the end zone. They'll be on 35. They'll be on the 35. Then they have 65 yards for a touchdown to win it, and whatnot. If you kick it out of bounds, they're on, I believe, the 40, which gives them only 60 yards. So it's a difference of 5 yards between kicking it into the end zone for a touchback or kicking it out of bounds.
Yeah.
Scoop kick.
Yeah. Scoop kick. All right. Well, we'll see what they do here.
Onside kick.
Baker.
Onside kick, yeah.
Baker Mayfield having a pretty decent game tonight, though.
Yeah.
Coming through, especially in the clutch.
215, 2 touchdowns, 33 rushing yards, 4 times sacked.
Yeah.
And Stroud looked pretty good too.
Yeah.
On the stat line too.
Oh, see, that's exactly what you. All right. Well,
here we go.
That's a final because it took 5 seconds of the run out. Yeah. I don't. Weird. In my mind, you go down, you call it timeout.
Yeah,
right?
you gotta go to, well, you don't need a timeout because on those it stops, but you have to go down with 1 second to try to get a Hail Mary. That's still better than if you're bottled up.
Yeah.
Inside your own 30.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the final score, 2019. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of a different gimmick. We've done this before, and I'm going to talk about all the games real fast, do a quick rundown of all the game action from it, and each one of you guys, while I am doing it, think of 2 games you want to talk about. I'll go around in a circle, get each of your first game, let each one of you give your thoughts on that game, and then your second one, and then we will take a look at the week ahead as well. And so that way we're not going to give everyone's thoughts on every game, but then the games that you care the most about, that you want to talk about the most, that you can. We'll try to do it that aren't the Ravens and the Commanders games, just because I feel like we've already talked about those games. But any of the other games are fair game. So we're going to click the share button. We're going to click this thing right here. So we talked about the Packers beating the Commanders. The Lions just crushed the Bears. The Steelers lost to the Seahawks. It was something that a lot of us got wrong last week. The Seahawks looked pretty good, and it shows that sometimes you can't be too high on a team in week one and too low on them as well. But the Seahawks put together a great game, but I'm sure somebody's going to want to talk about some really boneheaded plays in that one. The Ravens, we talked about it, putting up 41 points, 41-17. Cincinnati hung on against the Jaguars, 31-27, but that was a very close game for a lot of it. The Rams and the Titans, the Rams pretty much dominated the Titans, which a lot of us figured that they would. 49ers and Saints was a closer game than I expected, a 26-21 victory. The Cowboys-Giants game was a really close game. I thought the Giants had many opportunities to win this game, including the Cowboys had to take 3 different possessions in overtime to win it. And I was hoping for the dunk for the tie. That was what I was wishing for at the end. Didn't quite happen, but it was very close. We've got the Dolphins and the Patriots. The Patriots actually came out on top. The Dolphins look terrible. The Bills and the Jets, I mean, we all kind of thought the Bills are pretty good, and the Jets are not. And it kind of showed the Steelers-Jets game was very interesting the week before, because I think we really had a bad thought process for thinking that the Steelers were better than they were, which I don't think they are. The Jets are just really bad. And the Broncos-Colts, a lot of us still thought that the Broncos would beat the Colts, just because we thought there'd be a better team. But Indianapolis starting off the season 2-0 with squeaking out a victory, a 1-point win there.
Daniel Jones is 2-0. Let's everybody take that and just sit with that.
Right. Thank you,
Danny Dimes is 2-0. Thank you,
the Giants are just giving away, players and helping out other teams. It seems the Cardinals beat the Panthers, to be expected, but a little bit closer than I thought. The Chiefs and Eagles was also a relatively close game, but the Eagles came away with a big victory in Kansas City. And then the Vikings-Falcons was a terrible football game where the Falcons won, which surprised me and I think many on this. And we just watched that 2019 win there. We got this Raiders-Chargers game coming up that we will be analyzing throughout this sort of second hour. But I'm going to start off with Tim. Tim, why don't you pick a game that you want to talk about?
I'll start with the Bengals-Jaguars game. So this game was really interesting because the Jaguars had a pretty commanding lead in the fourth quarter, and they blew it. And I think the good vibes that they started out with have disappeared a little bit. But the Bengals had kind of a false victory because Burrow got hurt and left the game early. Browning was pretty good as the backup and won the game, but Burrow is out 3 months, I heard. So it's going to be tough for them, I think, to win a lot of games without their star quarterback. But again, the Bengals, they've had a lot of recent seasons where they started slow and then came on. So I'm sure they're happy to get the second win, and even with their backup, and just their offense is still strong. So that was a big win for them, and we'll see going forward. I mean, I saw their odds to make the playoffs went way down on the betting apps. So big situation there. And then the other one I'll talk about is the Steelers, because I love to talk about their losses. And I think you're right. Just week one, I think people probably overestimated the Jets and the Steelers. Just because in week two they both looked terrible, and Rodgers wasn't great. I think he had 2 picks, but also had 1 touchdown to break Favre's record. But I saw they brought in Rudolph a little bit at the end, so I guess Rodgers just was resting or something. But you love to see Pittsburgh lose at home. And yeah, the one big mistake that I saw was the crazy punt. It was like a punt return fumble where the guy just let it bounce over his head.
It was a kickoff.
Kickoff, yeah. And Seattle just came down and got it, and the guy didn't know
the guy thought that because he's a rookie, thought if it's in the end zone, it's an automatic touchback. It is not now, and I'm not sure it ever was, right? Didn't you always have to down it? I don't know.
Well, what also happened in that game is that when it bounced in the safe zone, it was immediately a live ball, as I mentioned earlier. But also, Bama touched it as well, so it was even more of a live ball than it was just landing in the landing zone. So either way, if listen, you mess up like that on a Mike Tomlin team, I don't think you're gonna see the field again, brother.
Arun, with the old rules, if he had not touched it, could you still recover it in the end zone? You still have to down it, right?
The other team, yeah, if nobody touches it, then the other team gets it, right?
Yeah, I think that's always been the case. That's yeah, okay. I just want to make sure because people seem to be making it seem like it's because of this new rule, and I'm like, I think this is always.
No, he touched it too. So yeah,
well, I know he touched it, so we're taking that out of the thing. But I'm like, I think you still always had to down it on a kickoff. I don't think that was ever because it's an onside kick at that point, right? It's past 10 yards. So anyway, but I just, crazy game for sure. All right, I'm going to go to Champ next. What are your two games?
All right. Is it my turn now? Sorry.
Yep.
I was watching a Damon Lyle home run in a game that they got their asses whipped by Atlanta. So sorry. Okay. So Tim kind of stole my thunder with the Steelers one, but I kind of figured he would because he's a Ravens fan, so he loves to see the misery of the Steelers. So I'll talk about Detroit and Chicago. Chicago is just a terrible team. they're freaking terrible. Detroit just absolutely boat raced them in Detroit. Amon-Ra St. Brown just looks like he's definitely going to be one of the receivers that's going to be in the top 10 in terms of yardage and most likely in touchdowns this year. He just was on it. Jared Goff, his throws were on point. That had 1-2 punch at running back. Everything about this game worked in the way of the Lions. So a great bounce back for them after the opening season loss to another division rival in Green Bay, in which that one wasn't close. So they took out all their frustrations on their other division rival being the Chicago Bears. And boy, did they take it out on them in a big way possible. So kudos to them on that one. The other game I want to talk about, and I'm hoping I'm not stealing anybody's thunder. If I am, sorry. Dallas and New York, as I mentioned earlier on, Russell Wilson took it back to 2013 on them. I mean, he was throwing dimes. Neighbors and Robinson look like they're going to be a pretty decent 1-2 punch at wide receiver. They still don't have a running game, so if they're going to survive in this league, they need to get a running game. Though Cam Scotabo, though, Jesus Christ, that kid is something special. The way he bowled through people to get that touchdown, get his first NFL touchdown was crazy. But as good as Russ was during this game, he had that one critical mistake of that interception in overtime, and they weren't able to recover. And then Dallas able to get it down the field on their third possession of overtime, leading to that Brandon Aubrey field goal to win the game at home to improve to 1-1. I mean, these two teams went out there, and I think they had the game of the week when it came down to it between these two teams. And, of course, me being a Commanders fan, I'm like Robbie. I want to see them tie. Fuck them. But as a football fan, this was an exciting game to watch because I not only am I a football fan, I'm an offensive football fan. Offense is always going to catch my attention. There was plenty of it in this game between the Giants with Robinson and with Neighbors, and then on the other side with the Cowboys with Lamb and with their new addition George Pickens, who really showed up in this one. He was barely noticeable in that week 1 loss to Philly, but this week he made a big impact in this game, and it made all the difference in the Cowboys walking away 1-1 with the Giants going back home at 0-2. So those two games right there really stood out to me. A lot of them stood out to me, but these are the two that really stood out.
Yeah, for sure. It was funny because I didn't really start watching. I mean, I've been hearing rumblings of this game, but I was watching the Ravens game, and I was kind of I had it full screen instead of watching the split. And but then I kind of tuned in towards the end, and I was hearing how crazy of a game this was, and I was like, I got to go check this out. And so
I got the red zone gimmick now, so I was watching all the games.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a wild game. I was definitely hoping for the tie, but But for sure. All right, I'm going to go with Sith. Which two games do you want to talk about?
All right. I feel like the two guys in the balcony from the Muppet Show where it comes to these two games because the teams on the losing end, they're not bad. No, they're horrible. San Francisco, New Orleans. Remember when New Orleans was a competent playoff team? Pepperidge Farm remembers. The 49ers, they were on the road and they came out on their second straight away game and just walked into New Orleans and said, thank you. Have a nice day. They won 26-21. The Saints got 21 points at home. They're 0-2 at home, though. And if you're a Saints fan, I feel for y'all because it was a lot of these Saints fans have gone through hell and high water where it comes to these Saints teams. Some have been really good, but then some like this year, prospects aren't looking good. However, there's a team in the AFC that is worse than the Saints, Bills, Jets. Oh, dear Jesus. Oh, Lord. The Jets, I got to tell you, the Jets are bad. They're terrible bad. As in, if Robbie were to tell me, Seth, love you, bro, but you need to watch a Jets game all the way through, he and his dad would have to pay me major money to sit through it because I was watching Red Zone and I was just like, the Jets are making the Giants look like playoff contenders, and that's sad because the Giants aren't that good of a team either. But when I weigh the two New York big teams out of New York, who's better? The Giants are the better team over the Jets right now. So yeah. Ugh. As those two guys in the balcony from the Muppet Show would say, no, they're not bad. No, they're horrible.
And it didn't help that the Jets lost their starting quarterback, Justin Fields, to a concussion. That also didn't help matters.
Yeah, and I think Buffalo is actually statistically favored in every remaining game this season, at least as of right now. And they're going to be a tough out for sure. And it was funny because right at the beginning of the Ravens game, the line changed, and so the Ravens were actually favored over the Bills, but that was the only game so far that they hadn't been favored in. So I thought that was kind of an interesting stat. Arun, which games do you want to talk about? Oh, you're muted on Zoom.
Oh, well now. So I'm going to talk about Eagles Chiefs, the 20-17 game.
Yeah.
I guess Saquon had a really nice run to put the Eagles up, but I think the bigger deal is Tom Brady made a hissy fit about the tush push, so maybe next year it'll get banned. It definitely has been less entertaining this season, and maybe I'm less enthusiastic about football just overall because the Eagles have an advantage, and it's not that it's unfair, it's just boring to watch. And he said that pretty much two offensive linemen are offsides every single time, so hopefully they move it, or the Eagles will probably just keep winning Super Bowls.
That's a fair assessment. What's the other game you want to talk about?
Talk about I guess the Daniel Jones is 2-0 somehow. And many people didn't see that coming, including me. And I think the bigger problems lie just like in the Giants organization. Yeah, they played well against the Cowboys last week, but they let Saquon go and he's thriving, and the Eagles easily could have been 0-2 without him. And Daniel Jones is now 2-0, and they beat a playoff team in the Broncos. Everyone's picking them to make the playoffs. And it was an exciting close game, and shout out to Daniel Jones beating Bo Nix.
A play off of what Vince McMahon said back in 1997. The refs didn't screw the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos screwed the Denver Broncos. You're welcome.
There you go. All right, so I'm going to do a quick run through of all the games next week, and then same idea. Each one of you guys can talk about two games that you are looking forward to watching, or at least think are interesting to talk about. We got the Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills. For me, this is an easy one. The Dolphins look atrocious. The Packers, Browns, another easy one. This is a Sunday 1:00 game. The Browns, even at home, I can't imagine doing anything. The Colts, Titans. I got to go with the Colts, but this is always a very fierce rivalry. It's one of those things that seasons kind of reminds me of the old school, Redskins, Cowboys, where even if one team had won all their games, the other team had lost all of them, like the other team would win situation. So you have to kind of worry about rivalry games, but the Colts look pretty good so far. We got the Bengals and the Vikings. The Vikings look pretty terrible. I'm going to go with Cincinnati in that one. We got the Steelers and the Patriots. I think I'm gonna pick the Steelers in a bounce back game. The Patriots haven't done enough to really excite me yet. We got the Rams and the Eagles. I'm gonna continue on the Eagles train. Unfortunately, they look too good so far. We got the Jets and the Buccaneers. They just look awful. The Buccaneers looked okay today. It's gonna be in Tampa Bay, so I'm gonna go with them on this one. We got the Commanders and the Raiders. It's going to be interesting. Right now we're watching a live game. The Chargers are up 3-0 over the same Raiders. 10:36 left in the first quarter. I think I'm going to go with the Commanders. The long week and especially the short week for the Raiders. It's a little bit of what we just had to deal with, and they're going to have to fly out here from Vegas on a short week. So we'll see how they do. I'm actually hoping Vegas wins tonight, so they've got a little bit of extra confidence where they're up 2-0 and they don't need the win quite as much. So I'm actually going to root for them in tonight's game because I thought that maybe maybe we become the trap game for them. We got the Falcons and the Panthers. Oof. Panthers are real bad, though. Falcons were better this week, so I'm going to go pick them. And the Texans and the Jaguars, man, the Texans just find ways to lose. I think the Jaguars at home are going to win this one, which is crazy because 70% of people, at least initially, are picking the Texans to win. I know they need to get a win, but I think the Jaguars are a better team. We got the Chargers and the Broncos. We're watching this Chargers team right now. They looked really good in week one. Not a whole lot has happened so far. We're still very early in this game, so it's hard to gauge. Chargers and Broncos. I'm going to go with the Chargers. They looked pretty strong in week one. The Broncos did not impress me last week. We've got an afternoon game with the Saints and the Seahawks. I'm going to go with the Seahawks, who looked a lot better this week. We got the Bears and the Cowboys. We're going to go with the Cowboys because the Bears look atrocious. We got the 49ers and the Cardinals. I'm going to go, this is a tough one. I kind of think the Cardinals are going to upset them, but because the 49ers just keep on letting teams off the hook in the second half, I'm going to go with the Cardinals in an upset in that one. And we're going to go Giants, Chiefs. The Chiefs have got to use the get-right game. And then we got Lions, Ravens. Tim, you got a tough one on Monday night. I'm going to go. I'm going to pick the Lions with the hope that they can jinx them.
By the way, Robbie, I'm listening to a soundbite from WFAN in New York about the Giants game. And, of course, they're not blaming Russell Wilson this time. They say he played terrific, but he called the defensive coordinator scared of going after them, scared of letting them get behind them, and scared of letting them make a big play. And in turn, they made an easy pitch and catches down the middle, and they got beat by a 64-yard field goal. He said this team just doesn't know how to win.
That's true. I feel like they're the opposite of the Commanders in winning time. We're we didn't have an opportunity in this game, but I feel like we're much better down the stretch. I'm going to pick 60 points. Well, I think that's even low. Maybe we're 70 points in this combined. I mean, the Lions-Ravens game is going to be crazy. And this is actually a good opportunity. Next Monday, we do not have a show. So, unfortunately, we don't get to do a watch-along of this one. So, Tim gets off the hook. We're doing a late-night show next Thursday, so I'll talk to the guys about who can join me. I'm actually going to Texas on Friday at 6 in the morning, and I will be there until Tuesday, taking some time off for the Jewish holiday and seeing some family and a family reunion down there. And so we'll be back. Thursday night, I've got a back to school night with my kid that's over at 8:15. So it's gonna be a real late show. It's gonna be like a 10 to 11 1 hour show. We're not going to make all these picks. We're literally just going to recap how the Commanders did and preview the next week, and we'll do the same for the Ravens as well. But we're not going to do the gimmick where we talk about all of them. So it'll be a very different show next Thursday. We'll also be live watching that Thursday night football game as well, which is the Seahawks Cardinals game. Ooh. Anyway, so that game will be on Prime. So anyway, so stay tuned next week, different time Thursday. We'll be back to our Monday the following week, and that will be on the 29th. And that show will be the last show where we do football first, I think. Oh no, we're doing football first that week, and then also on the 6th, and then on the 13th we start with hockey first, but we're doing a live watch along as well. So it'll be a 9 o'clock hockey on the 13th, and then 10 o'clock live look into the Chicago Washington game. So that's how the next couple of weeks are going to go. But let's talk. We have about 10 minutes left of this show, and each one of you guys, we're going to do it a little bit different this time. Each one of you guys talk about one, and then afterwards I'll give you the second one. So that way everyone gets a chance to potentially to pick the one that they want the most, and then so there'll be 2 rounds of the round table, so to speak. So Tim, I'm going to start with you. Pick your first one.
I'll go ahead and talk about the Arizona 49ers game, just because one thing I'm looking at here is the injury to Purdy and Kittles, because I think it's still going to be Mac Jones. And if that's the case, I mean, Arizona, I think, has a good shot. So I'm sort of surprised it's only 22%, but Arizona did let Carolina back in the game, but they look pretty good overall. Offense and defense is looking pretty strong. So I think they have a chance if Purdy's not playing.
Yeah, the
I'd
49ers
probably
just
take
been
that.
the 49ers have just been letting teams hang around a lot. And so they haven't been the dominant team that we've seen from the 49ers in the past couple of years. And so I definitely, there's an upset feeling here brewing. And it's obviously a big time rivalry. And Arizona wants to kind of prove they're for real. So I think that's a good one to talk about. Champ, you're going to get, what's your first game you want to talk about?
Before I talk about the first game I want to talk about, we forgot to mention with the Dolphins and the Patriots that crazy sequence where they had the punt return touchdown did Miami.
Oh yeah.
On the ensuing kickoff, former commander Antonio Gibson runs it back for a touchdown. So neither offenses got the chance to be on the field because special teams scored for them. So I thought that was pretty funny. Which segues into our Thursday night matchup, which is Buffalo versus Miami. Miami offensively looks like absolute dog shit. They look like dog shit. And now they got to travel to their AFC East rival, the Buffalo Bills, who have looked absolutely spectacular in the last 2 games. Sorry, Tim. And they just don't seem like they're going to slow down. I don't see a letdown in this game at all. I see Buffalo absolutely running them out of the stadium on Thursday night. I don't see anybody turning on Prime to see Miami and Tua Tagovailoa getting their asses handed to them by Josh Allen and his offense. But I think this was going to happen.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like the Dolphins coach, he was kind of a gimmick in some ways. Like people were starting to like him. They thought he was kind of a silly, interesting guy, but like he doesn't dress the part. He tries to do like stand-up comedy in his post-game, segments and stuff like that. And I wonder how long that's gonna last in Miami. Especially if they keep losing. Like he just seems like it's a scapegoat waiting to happen for me. Sith, do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh boy. Not particularly, but I do have a game that I'm looking at, though, that's going to air opposite the Washington game. I'm looking at Rams-Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
This ought to be a pretty decent game here. Look, the Eagles are a really good team, okay? But the Rams, though, something about the Rams. I've got the Eagles winning this one at home. I think that the Rams are going to lose, but I think this could be one that's going to fly under the radar as a very competitive game on the Sunday slate of games. And it's one that I'll be willing to see the highlights of and be like, whoa, maybe given that we're getting the Washington game there, because I'm down in the Richmond market, we always get the Washington games. This is going to be one that I'll be glad to see the clips of Rams Eagles. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird being down in Texas. I'm curious. Is Dallas playing at that time? They're playing the 425. So I'll be
they're
curious
playing
to see.
for the Bears. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see which game I actually get down there, and how much of the game I get to watch. But I'll definitely record it and watch it when I get home on my DVR. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting one I'm going to talk about. Arun, which one do you want to talk about?
Did Tim already go?
Yeah, Tim went first.
Okay, then I'm gonna do Ravens Lions.
Right.
And I think it's interesting just because one of those teams is going to be 1-2, and both were very close to making it. Well, I guess the Lions weren't that close, but they're both almost in the conference championship game last season, and I think both these teams will probably make the playoffs, but going 1-2 would be bad. And I think the Ravens probably have the edge, but it's definitely going to be a very competitive Monday Night Football game.
Yeah. Well, Tim, I'll let you preview this one since you're a Ravens fan. What are your thoughts going into that Monday night game?
I think it's definitely going to be difficult because the Lions seem like they got their group back. It's hard to tell because, Chicago is so bad. I think especially on defense, you can really move the ball on them. It's hard to say how, explosive Detroit will be, but I think they're definitely going to put up some points. So the Ravens have to play better in the first half to beat this caliber of team. I do think, though, that probably Detroit peaked a little bit last year, and the fact that they lost their coordinator will hurt a little bit over time. So I don't think they're gonna have as good of a season as last year, but I do think they'll probably make a wild card and win a fair amount of games. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good matchup though for the Ravens, just because the Ravens always play the NFC really tough. I think Lamar's only lost like a couple games against the NFC ever. So because just the Ravens offense is so odd, it's hard to play against it if you don't see it often. So he does worse against the division. And then the Lions have a kind of weak run defense. So this should be a game that Henry does well. He really didn't have a great second game because the Browns have a strong D-line. But yeah, that's kind of my hope, is just run the ball on the Lions a lot and dominate the clock.
Yeah, it's gonna be a high scoring game. I just don't know if either defense is gonna be able to hold up, because I've seen both defenses crack a little bit this year, and I've also seen both offenses just hum at a crazy rate. So I'm interested to see which defense shows up, since it'll make a big difference here. So I just want to give a little bit of a scoring update. It's still 3-3 in this game, and it's actually been pretty close back and forth game so far. There just was a potential almost sack, but then he finally was able to escape and get it out to his tight end for a 2nd and 7 here. They're right now on their own 19-yard line, though. So a long ways to go. Again, 7:09 left in the first quarter. A running play, but he runs into his own guy, and it's a loss of 7 yards going into 3rd down there. All right, so Sith, I'm going to let you actually make the next pick, because I know that you need to get out of here, and then I'm going to let you give your final thoughts as well, and then we'll let you go. So what game do you want to talk as your last game?
It's Washington, the one that's the 1 o'clock game for here in the RV as well as DC. Washington's got a major gut check here against Vegas because of what happened against Green Bay. Now, with JD5 dealing with a sprain, it'll be decided later in the week if Mariota starts in place of JD5. I want to see how the offense bounces back. I think that the offense is going to have a bounce back performance here that catches at our defense. We have to stop the tight ends of Vegas. If we don't stop the tight ends from Vegas, they're going to run up the scoreboard possibly, and we cannot afford that. I've got us winning at home. I think we'll win. But I think this game plus the one the following week for Washington, I agree with Champ. This is where we're going to all start to come together here. This is where things are going to start to congeal, and we're going to start seeing the Commanders the way that we were going to see them for this year.
Chargers was able to hold there. We got Vegas punting, and the Chargers guy gets about the 20 and gets 5 yards on the return. First and 10 there, 5:34. So, Dan, congratulations on 300. I'll talk with Champ at the very end of the show a little bit more about what you talked about. But let people know what's happening in the basement as well.
Oh, and the intro to episode 300, Champ popped at this. We have a 5 out of 5 ranking for a movie that I saw this past weekend. I can tell y'all what it is. You'll have to tune in on our audio platforms or log on demand on Twitch or Kick to find, or in a Spots podcast Facebook page in order to find out what that 5 out of 5 movie is, because that is a rare grade for me to give out. This is like this is the fourth time in the last 3 years that a film's gotten that. I gave it out twice in 2023, didn't do it at all last year. This year I've done it twice, including this weekend. In the basement, we are doing the top 500 80s songs ranked by Billboard, worst to best. And this past Sunday on Spotify right now, it's numbers 450 to 401. So the recording that'll come out on Sunday at 5 is going to be 400 to 351. And with the 400 to 351, the first few songs are going to be ones where it's like, they're decent, but not great. But then you get into the good stuff. And in the rant at the close of the show, an updated Final Destination ranking, including Bloodlines.
Oh, cool. I wanted to see that movie. I never got around to it.
Bloodlines I really, really enjoyed. Back in May, it didn't get the 5 out of 5, but it was a really good way to send off Tony Todd, who died of cancer last year. So this was a very good way to send him off and give us, the fans of Final Destination, again, what we come to see this franchise for. So all of that, Sith's Basement, 5 p.m. on Spotify.
There you go.
And Champ will give y'all the schedule for this weekend, because we have a Friday night stream and then we have a Saturday night stream.
Nice. Yeah, we'll find out more. But then, congratulations on 300. Thank you for being a part of 10 seasons over here. And definitely go check out the basement. I just posted the link in our Twitch chat as well. You can find out all of the links and everything if you're missing it also on SportsOTHP.com. And if you click the Team Sports OTHP, there's links for all of us and all of our different stuff that we do. So thank you, Sith, as always, and I hope that you have a great night. And maybe we'll see you in a week from Thursday, and if not, we'll see you the following Monday after that.
We'll see you in 2 weeks more than likely. Be safe, everyone. Champ, Robbie, Tim, Arun, you guys take care. Take care, my brothers. We'll see you.
Thank you so much, Seth. So the Baltimore Orioles defeat the Chicago White Sox 4-1. That's my segue to give Tim his final thoughts. Tim, what is the last game that you want to talk about?
I'll go ahead and talk. I'll talk about the Commanders game just for a minute, just because it'll be obviously interesting to see who the starting quarterback is. But I do agree with I think at least what you said, Robbie, where it's such a tough matchup for the Raiders to fly across the country on a short week. And I do remember Mariota was surprisingly good last year against some bad team that you guys blew out. So, I mean, that's kind of promising. He should be fine. He's got a lot of starts in the NFL, but I'll be watching this one and just curious to see. But yeah, I definitely think Washington can take the game with either quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Tim, it's been great to have you back. Maybe we'll see you
Definitely.
in next week from Thursday. If not, we'll see you in 2 weeks after that. So we can talk offline. But I appreciate you for making the grand return here in season 10.
Yeah, definitely. It was a good time and great to see you guys, and we'll do it again soon.
Sounds good. All right. With that, I'm going to let Arun make his last pick, and then I'm going to let Champ, we'll talk a little wrestling in 300 at the end here. But Arun, what game do you want to talk about?
The Pats and the Steelers, just because I have no idea whether to overreact from week 1 or week 2. I'm probably going to overreact from week 2, given the way the Steelers lost, and I'm going to go with the Pats, but that's a game that no result kind of would surprise me, like the Steelers winning or the Pats winning. Because Aaron Rodgers, it just depends on which version of him shows up. And I can give my final thoughts too, I guess, about the Japan. There's like Jane Daniels recently said that he has Japanese descent, and his great grandmother was born in Japan. He honored that by wearing a Japanese flag. Do you know 3 other DC athletes were born in Japan?
There are 3 athletes that were born in Japan.
One is for the Nationals, Ogasawara.
Okay.
And then there's Rui Hachimura.
Okay. Yeah.
And our final one is RG3. Born
All
in
right. I actually thought this is where it was going, but I was like, I'll just let it happen.
I knew it was fucking going there, but I was just waiting for it.
Well done, man.
Another Japanese quarterback for the franchise of Washington.
There you go.
By the way, Osagawa, who plays for the Nationals, is a relief pitcher, and he's actually a really good relief pitcher, by the way.
Nice. I think the Nationals lost earlier today. Is that right?
Yeah, they got their asses whooped by Atlanta here in DC.
From the playoffs a couple of days ago.
Well, they were eliminated from the playoffs before the All-Star break. Let's be real.
Sure. All right, we got Justin back to throw. He big catch there on the 20-yard line, up at a flag. So we'll see what happens there. The Chargers are driving down the field trying to break this 3-3 tie. But Arun, I appreciate you returning as always, and we'll talk to you either next week or the week after.
Sure, thanks for having me on.
All right, with that, I'm going to end our screen share. We're going to go over to our main scene.
There is a second game I'm looking forward to in week 3, which is going to be very, very intriguing.
Yeah, go for it. What is it?
Cincinnati, Minnesota, and here's why.
All right.
For Cincinnati, it's the Jake Browning show for the next 3 months because Joe Burrow's got to have surgery on his turf toe, and he's going to be out 3 months. So it's the Jake Browning show. On the other side with Minnesota, at least for week 3, it's the Carson Wentz show because J.J. McCarthy suffered an ankle sprain in the loss to Atlanta last night, and he's most likely missing week 3. So you're going to have Jake Browning versus a Super Bowl winning quarterback in Carson Wentz. This is a very intriguing matchup. Thankfully, it's on regional TV and not in a primetime spot because I think a lot of people look at this and be like, oh, turn this off. This game stinks. But I think this is going to be a pretty fun game, especially with the way Jake Browning was able to bring Cincinnati back after the Burrow injury. He was able to bring them back and then get the quarterback sneak to win the game on Sunday. And then, again, we know what Carson Wentz is capable of. And I think that with this new environment and having guys like Justin Jefferson, as well as Adam Thielen and everybody else back there. I think he's going to be fine. This is going to be a sleeper game right here between, a veteran in Carson Wentz and someone like Jake Browning. This is going to be an interesting one. I got Cincinnati winning it, but it's going to be very, very close. Very close and very entertaining. Yeah. And I can't wait to watch it on Red Zone.
Nice. So Tina is saying hello. Wentz is still in Eek. Yeah, no, Wentz is no. He's for the Vikings now. This is not our backup quarterback situation. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that Vikings game. We were just talking about a different one. He is a backup. So they had a young quarterback who did really well. Well, a good comeback, I should say, in week 1. But rough sailing in week 2 for sure.
JJ McCarthy definitely looked rough in that Atlanta game. He absolutely looked like a rookie, even though this is his second year, but this is going to be his first full year as a starter, and he's going to end up missing at least a game with that ankle sprain. No telling how long of time he's going to miss, but he definitely looked like a rookie quarterback against Atlanta. And Atlanta doesn't have a top 10 defense. That's what's even crazier. That Atlanta's defense is like middle of the road, and they made JJ McCarthy look like a complete rookie, or he made them look like a top 10 defense. I don't know which one it was, but either way, they're both bad.
Yeah, for sure. It's 1st and 5 after a penalty here. The Chargers it's almost 1st and goal. They can get a first down at the 2-yard line here, and they get stood up on first down with that run. The clock is ticking. We're in the final minute of this first quarter. But Champ, congratulations on 300. For people who don't check out the No Spots podcast, we decided to build an interactive setup very similar to what we have here, where different commands can make different ones of your different promotions show up on the wrestling ring, so to speak. It looked pretty cool today. They celebrated the 300th episode of the podcast. It's been cool to watch the evolution of your show and over all these years. But let people know what they could find on the 300 that's on the VODs right now, and then the audio will be hitting tomorrow.
The VOD will actually be hitting on Wednesday, because I didn't realize when I recorded it through OBS, it recorded the video and not just the audio. So I have to extract the audio from the video to put up and edit and stuff like that. So it'll most likely be up Wednesday, because I'll be spending most of my day tomorrow at the hospital with my mother for her surgery and stuff like that. But if you want to listen and find out what we talked about on episode 300, the VODs are up on both Kick and on Twitch and on Facebook for the time being. Well, at least until they take them down, which is usually what happens. So we talked about the sudden release of Andrade over a year after he returned to WWE. We talked about the update that was given by RVD regarding his fractures of his heels. We talked about the WWE announcing that WrestleMania will be held outside of North America for the first time ever in 2027, and we gave our thoughts on how New Orleans got absolutely royally screwed out of a WrestleMania because money talks and bullshit walks. We also talk about with New Japan, they're on the road to destruction with a special event honoring the 5-year anniversary of their TV variety shows in Japan, Shinichi Champion. Then we had a Never Openweight Championship match the next night. And then just today, Monday, or early morning here, mid-afternoon in Japan, they had the start of the Battle Line Hokkaido part of the Road to Destruction tour, which saw a very unique 2 out of 3 falls match as the main event. And we also talked about Worlds Collide, which was the AAA and WWE co-produced event, which me and Hector live reacted to last Friday. We talked about that. We talked about the week that was and all that good stuff. And then Sith gave some poignant final thoughts about the announcement that Paramount is looking to, or has already or is in the midst of acquiring Warner Brothers Discovery, which could have some very, very interesting ramifications for its programming, including possibly AEW, who just recently signed a new TV deal with Warner Brothers Discovery, which will include pay-per-views being aired on HBO Max at a special discounted rate, as opposed to people who order it on traditional pay-per-view and other platforms. So episode 300, the video on demands are up right now on Twitch and on Kick and on Facebook. The audio will go up sometime on Wednesday. And then as Sith mentioned, this Friday, we will have episode 301. We are previewing AEW All Out, which is taking place in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and is going to be a late afternoon stream, 3 p.m. on the East Coast. And then we will preview WrestlePalooza, which is going to be at 7 p.m. That same day on Saturday. And then we are live reacting to WrestlePalooza, which is going to be the first PLE on the ESPN streaming platform. Netflix for those who are international, and we will try to live react to WrestlePalooza and things like that. So Friday, it's the podcast 301. Saturday, it is WrestlePalooza live reaction, which includes some big matches, including John Cena versus Brock Lesnar for the last time, Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins taking on CM Punk and AJ Lee, Io Sky versus Stephanie Becker to determine who's the new women's world champion after Naomi had to relinquish the belt because she is off to become a mom, as well as other big matches that are on the card. But cannot wait to once again put up that nice setup that Robbie set up for, had built out for myself and for Sif to use. So big thank you to Robbie for that. It was a labor of love, and it was something that was long overdue for us because we had been using StreamYard for so many years with so many issues and things like that. So finally to have something that's a little bit more stable and can allow more of an interactive feel for the streams and everything like that is absolutely fantastic. And so I'm very pleased with it, even though when we tried to do 300 on Sunday, we ran into every problem that you could ask for, and I got really, really frustrated. I was
Always
like,
growing pains, champ. Whenever there's a new system involved, for sure. It's like you try everything, and then when it goes live for real, like even me, who's done it for years, you still don't know. It's kind of a roll of the dice. But I thought it looked cool. I just want to give a shout out to some of the new features people could look forward to. That now has emotes let live can display. So if you like to, something big's happening or you're really excited, then you can add some flair to the screen. There's gonna be some commands that VIPs and moderators can use, but eventually maybe even subs can use, where you can do an RKO or Undertaker and things can change. Also, mods and VIPs can help change some of the graphics as well remotely, which will be helpful for Champ when he's reacting to something. And if he forgets something, we can all help him out as well. So lots of great opportunities there. There'll be future channel point redeems that will also be tied to these things as well. Maybe even some future emotes. I'd like to get with him and do some of those as well. So lots of stuff coming in the near future. And definitely go check out episode 300. I want to give a special shout out to Tina, who's our MVP of the day. She just gave 3-month gift sub to my dad to the podcast. So big shout out to Tina. That's a really nice thing to do. She said that she loves that my dad is here in chat most days, and he's been with us all night, lurking as well. He did chat a little bit earlier. I'm sorry for anybody that I missed in chat tonight. We had a busy show, having 5 people on the round table, but
and then I even resub for 35 months.
Yeah, so I was about to mention that I totally had missed it when it happened, but I thank you obviously for all the support for all the years. It's been great. I love that. We've got so much to celebrate still here coming up in season 10, from the Capitals to the Commanders to the defending champions of the UFL. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot to be excited about. We may even talk some Wizards somewhere along the way as well. And So a lot of fun stuff. We've got an episode 400 coming up in a few months. That'll be around Super Bowl time. Then we'll celebrate 10 years of the show with our 10-year anniversary stream. That'll be a big stream, and then we'll also celebrate our affiliate anniversary and season 11, which I can't believe. I didn't even know if we would get to 11, but we're definitely going to get to 11. We'll see how many more we got going forward. So thank you for the support for everybody for being here. Champ, congratulations again on 300. It's exciting to see the growth of the podcast, and I really appreciate everyone for tuning in and being a part of the show tonight. It was really great to have the full roundtable. For people that don't know, behind the scenes, there's 5 of us in a group chat. I'm lucky if we get 2 or 3 of us to do a show every week, right? And then we usually bring in some additional guests, but it's rare for all 5 of us to be on a show together. So super fun to do that tonight. Again, I just want to reiterate, no show next Monday. I will be in Texas, but we will do a 1-hour show approximately 10 o'clock watching the end of the Thursday night football game that week. We will recap the Vegas game and preview the next week as well with that one. It'll be a bit of a shorter, later show. So I do want to say that there will be a show next week, but I won't be doing it on Monday. I'll be doing it on the Thursday. Okay, Tina has a question. Wait, I have a question. All right, well, what is your question, Tina?
What's up, Tina? Talk to us. What you got? What you got for us?
Chargers are up 10-3 now. By the way, 14:02 left here in the first half. While we wait for the question, but yeah, no, it's been a good show. I really appreciate everybody for being a part of it.
Yeah, it was good to see Tim and Arun back. It'll be good to see them back at it and stuff like that. Should be fun.
And it's a great question. We'll be live during the end of September for the gift sub discount. I will be live on the 29th. So I believe that will still be going on for that week. So again, I will be on the 25th, which is back to school night at 6:30. I'm hoping to be home in time. 10 o'clock show on the 25th. That'll be recapping this Vegas game and previewing the Atlanta game. And then we will recap the Atlanta game on the 29th, and we will preview that'll be the Chargers game is the one we'll be previewing that week. And then on the 6th, we'll just take a look at the upcoming schedule. The 6th of October, we'll be recapping that Chargers game and previewing the Chicago game. That'll be the following Monday night. And then on the 13th, we'll start our hockey coverage. It will be a 9 o'clock start time for hockey coverage for an hour. And then we'll be live looking and talking about that Chicago game throughout the hour, obviously. But then we'll bring in our football team to talk about the sort of middle part of that game, maybe towards the end. And we'll see. We'll stay on for as long as it's going well. I'll put it that way. If things start to go south, we may... we may not continue for too much longer. So that's at least the plan for the 13th. And then the 20th will be a more normal show. And then on the 27th will be another live watch along for the Kansas City. And that'll be our Halloween special because that'll be Halloween week as well. And I hope I'm not jumping jumping too quickly onto this, but I might be throwing a party on the 1st of November, a Halloween party with a live musical guest, Emily Henry. So if you're in the area and want to celebrate the day after Halloween, we didn't want to do it on Halloween because, hey, we have kids, we got to go trick-or-treating, there's a lot going on that night. But we thought it would be fun to maybe do a party with our friends on Saturday. Costume optional, we may do a fire pit and stuff like that here. We thought Saturday would be a little bit of an easier day for people to get down here. The concert would start, it would be like a pregame at 4, like a sort of bring whatever you want to eat, snack on, whatever, hang out 4 to 5. The music would be from 5 to 6, and then from 6 to 7, we'd be doing a bonfire kind of thing in our backyard. People can hang out for a little bit longer. So the music will be sort of towards the middle of it, and we want to do it before sunset. We're hoping the weather will be good. We never can tell that last week of October, what it's going to do. So there'll be tickets available because I'm doing a limited run for this because of we want to be able to move it indoors if it is bad weather, right? So we don't want to have like 70 people show up and fit them in my living room. Be difficult. So stay tuned to the socials, and we will announce the full concert information. But I did just get an email back from her saying that she was down for it while we were here. But it isn't officially announced. But I'm just keep that on the radar if people want to do a meet and greet, hang out, and stuff like that. Champ, obviously, you are welcome to come. So are you, Tina? Anybody who was a part of the podcast?
Brother, I was sitting here thinking about telling Jess that we might have to come up there with Junior. I've been sitting here thinking about that for like the entire time you were talking.
Yeah, and she's a super kid friendly musician too. She's great. Twitch streamer, and you can do costume. You can have fun. We'll be inviting other kids as well. So that would definitely be cool. So we'll definitely talk more about that as we get closer to that. And exciting next month coming up. Next month and a half. Champ, once again, congratulations. Oh, that was in and out of the hands on second down and 2nd and 6 here. Almost a touchdown there. I'll be watching this the rest of this game. But Champ, again, congratulations. Any final thoughts before we let you go?
Nope. Just go Commanders. Hopefully they can bounce back against the Raiders. Hopefully JD5 can heal up. Otherwise, we do have a competent backup in Marcus Mariota. So can't wait to talk about that next week. Can't wait to see what else is going to happen in the world of wrestling. I can't wait for All Out. I can't wait for WrestlePalooza. I can't wait for 301 and 302. So can't wait for all of that. Tina, Daisuke desu. Appreciate you. And as always, go Gigenyo. Sayonara.
All right, I'm trying to figure out where we're going to run to. I'm a big fan of Thug Shell. She's a big streamer on Twitch, but she's doing a behind the stream studio session from Canada. But I'm going to raid into her because she's really super cool. And if you don't know who Thug Shells is, she's an awesome DJ and a hip hop artist, and does freestyles, and from Canada. Grab a raid call, and we're gonna raid right now. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Again, no show next Monday. It'll be a week from Thursday. The Raiders did make a field goal there. They now trail the Chargers 10-6. We will talk to you guys next week. Bye.